Hello, beautiful artists. It's Kelly Folsom here. I want to welcome you back to another Art Life Conversations podcast. As you can tell, I am obsessed with artists becoming successful, both for myself and for other artists. Why? Why do I care so much? Because I know how it feels to be on the other end of that. And I also know how important and valuable it is. And I didn't always know this, and I didn't always believe this, but I also know and believe how important it is for artists to be a powerful force in this world, to contribute their gifts, right? So art takes the ordinary and transforms it into the extraordinary. Art connects us as human beings. It's one of the ways that we communicate our stories to one another as human beings. It's a source of empathy and connection through our art. It's a source of beauty and uplifting the world through beauty. It is the opposite of destruction. So it balances, creation is the opposite of destruction. So it balances the scales of destruction, which are, as always, prevalent in our world, and most likely will always be. So it's important that we also have people who are contributing beauty, contributing expression, human expression, empathy, to help balance that. So today I wanted to just share a little bit more about my past, a little bit more about my story and journey to becoming an artist in service of serving you. And hopefully somebody out there listening to this somewhere will get so much value out of what I'm about to share. So one of the things I've been talking a lot about transforming, adopting a growth mindset and transforming into the future version of yourself as an artist and achieving that full potential, right? Achieving your full growth as an artist. And one of the things that I know I experienced myself and I see other artists experience that really holds them back is past wounds. Okay, past wounding, your inner artist that has past wounds. I think the first step to this process is really, first and foremost, acknowledgement. So many of these wounds that have happened to us through people rejecting us, ignoring our work, the conditioning that we received in our society, or perhaps even underneath our roof, depending on where we grew up and who we grew up with, that told us that our art, silently told us, perhaps in some cases, and in some cases verbally told us that our art was not valuable or important, and I know for me, I really didn't feel like my talent and gift as an artist really had a place in the world, right? That wasn't the messaging that I was receiving from the environment that I grew up in, from the society that I grew up in. So a lot of times these things happen to us. Our inner artist is usually birthed pretty early on, it begins to emerge generally around age 10, 11, 12, maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later. But I find that it's pretty common that this artistic spirit, begins to emerge and develop around that age. And so a lot of times, though, these early wounding experiences and even later wounding experiences get very repressed, or very suppressed, and sometimes we don't even think about them. Sometimes we don't even acknowledge them, and yet the pain of them is still kind of driving the ship, so to speak, right? The pain of those past experiences. The thing is about our subconscious mind is that it doesn't really have a concept of time. And so a lot of times whenever these things happen to us in the past, the subconscious mind has to really cement it in and really latch onto it. Even if it's a repressed, experience, something that we don't talk about a lot, something we really haven't worked through emotionally, but the subconscious is still hanging on to it. And so sometimes what will happen as you begin to move towards, let's say, stepping into your artistic self and pursuing your artistic goals, whatever that may be for you. I do oil painting, but you might be doing something totally different. I'm here to support all artists, okay? But what happens is like the subconscious mind, oftentimes will be subconsciously holding you back because there's unresolved, pain. There's unresolved, traumas, if you want to call them that, painful, wounding experiences. And so the subconscious mind believes that, that will happen again, that the past will only repeat itself, that this happened in the past, it will repeat itself until we basically release those wounds, heal those wounds, forgive. And forgiveness doesn't mean like justifying what people did to us, the wrongs that happened to us. It doesn't mean abdicating, the responsibility that those people had in that situation. But it does mean, to release the wound of it, to send forgiveness, to send love and light to those people, to send compassion, understanding to them for what they did, so that you can move forward, move on, if you choose to do so. And it is always a choice. Our only power as human beings is choice, is our free will and choosing. So I'm not saying that you should, forgive anything or anyone. But I know that forgiveness is such a huge step towards wholeness and healing and freedom and being, more capable of reaching our full potential. So, but the very first step is really just acknowledgement. So a lot of times, I know for me, like I was shamed for being hurt. I was called too sensitive. I was, told to get over things. I was told that I was, I couldn't take criticism, things like that. And so whenever you are kind of shamed as a kid or as a young person for experiences like that, then you actually feel wrong for feeling hurt. Like you feel actually bad, or like you're doing something bad and wrong, for feeling wounded, right? So a lot of times this stuff gets repressed. When the truth of the matter is that whatever happened, like you felt hurt, you felt wounded, it hurt you, it hurt your heart. And a lot of times you formed a belief, you made a decision maybe to stop pursuing that thing that you love. You made a decision, in my case, for a long time, to stop doing art. And if I ever did art, I would do it in private, right? Or I would not share it with people from the age of like 16 or 17 to 26. If I ever did art, it was always in isolation, because I had experienced like so many rejections, along the way. So the first key is acknowledgement, just allowing yourself to actually say like, yeah, this happened to me and that freaking sucked, and that hurt. So a lot of times our inner artist is wounded and needs a lot of re-loving, a lot of reparenting, a lot of self-assurance, a lot of like, hey, I'm sorry that you went through that. It really freaking sucked, So first and foremost comes awareness. The second ingredient to, freedom and therefore the ability to take back your power and move towards your goals as an artist is then next accepting responsibility. Accepting responsibility for the choices you made unknowingly, you most likely subconsciously made back in the day, like, I'm scared now, it's not safe to share my work now, so you'll have to accept responsibility if you want to get to where you want to go. By saying like, I know that happened back then, but that doesn't mean that that's always going to happen. And I choose to show up and put myself out there anyway. I choose to accept myself first. So I'm doing a challenge called Art Your Way Through Life Challenge. And what does that mean? Art your way through life means accept yourself first, reject rejection, and trailblaze forward, okay? And this is the process, this is the choice that has to be made every day, moment after moment, moment after moment. So anytime you feel like you are getting criticized or rejected, or somebody's trying to hurt you, by, leaving a negative comment, for example, on your artwork. This is the choice that you will have to make. Accept yourself first, reject rejection, and trailblaze forward. The mistake that I made as a teenager, after multiple rejections, even, one time, my whole entire life's work, which was we don't want to belittle it. That's the other thing to be really careful of. As an adult now, it's like I have this thing of like, my life's work, it was 2 years worth of work. But as a 13-year-old, that was my life's work, right? And somebody threw it away. Somebody threw it in the garbage because they said that I had naked women in my sketchbook and it was bad and sinful, so they threw it all away. That was such an enormous blow to my artist self at that age. It was like, wow, just completely violated. I felt completely violated, completely rejected, and I could never get that work back. And there was nobody there, to help me to be able to process that in a healthy way and to reassure me and to, try to support me and comfort me. And so I was left with like making a decision of like, people don't, want to see my work. People think my work is garbage, And so I took that rejection on at an early age. I accepted the rejection. And the mistake that I made back then was that I rejected myself. I ended up rejecting my own gift, my own talents, my own art. And all that did was create years of limbo for me being in years of limbo, of not creating and not pursuing my purpose on this planet of being an artist. Like, that is a tragedy, And so even though I didn't know any better, and I forgive myself too, because I didn't know any better and there was nobody to tell me any better at the time, right? But I did reject myself and I rejected my own art, and I created that situation over the next 10 years for myself, trying to do other things, working at a gas station, not getting a college degree, because really I was not meant to do anything else but be an artist, right? So nothing else ever seemed even satisfying, let alone I didn't have the desire to do anything else, and I also didn't have the ability, opportunity to do anything else. But the point here is like, first and foremost has to come acknowledgement of any past wounds that you're still carrying around with you to this day. So I encourage you just to break out a journal and kind of just think about, see if anything comes to mind. Is there any pain that I'm still carrying? Is there anything that I've not really fully processed and healed and resolved? Okay. And then number 2, of course, is accepting responsibility in healing yourself, healing your inner artist self, right? Like, nobody else can do that for you. And accepting yourself regardless, because it's not about avoiding rejection. We can never avoid rejection, okay? It's like, that's kind of like life, right? Like, rejections will come. Criticisms will come. People ignoring our work or paying attention to our work, right? Those are external things that are not within our control. So it's not about avoiding those things, but what it is about is, accepting our own art first, right? And taking responsibility for how we choose to show up and move forward, even in the spite of fear of rejection. All right, my friends, I hope that this has been valuable to you, supportive to you. And yeah, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. That helps support me in this channel. I have a list of resources available for you down in the description box below, as well as you can join the Art Your Way Through Life Challenge. That's available to you. I want as many artists to participate in that as possible, because it's a conscious journey to more creativity. And it's a guided, a guided path to more healthy, fulfilled creativity in your life as an artist. And that's for all artists. You don't have to be a student of mine. You don't have to want to create like me. This is for any and all artists out there on the planet who feel like, yes, yes, I need to look at these wounds. I need to, work through these issues so that I can be a more happy, fulfilled artist. Okay, my friends, until next time, I'm wishing you happy creating. Bye for now.